Toxic gossip
No,
train.
don't start singing it. I can't
Got
stop.
a one-way ticket to... This is wild.
The train is continuing to chug along the tracks here, headed for ultimate crashing. When you think it couldn't get worse, it has, and I'm sure it will continue. So this came out from April, and we're not completely sure on her last name. We've heard other people pronouncing it Kuo, so we hope we're saying that right. Could be wrong, and apologies if we are. But anyway, she posted an article or a blog post talking about her experience, and it's literally apologizetome.com. But anyway, she posted an article about her experience working for Colleen as the writer's assistant and showrunner assistant / writer's PA on Haters Back Off, which was a Netflix show.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
Back in 2016. She had 2 seasons. I don't know when the second one came out.
There was 2 seasons of that?
And it got canceled.
She worked with Colleen, and upon meeting Colleen, she says that her first impression of her was that she was boisterous, opinionated, and had a stunning lack of humility that was unlike anything I had ever seen. And obviously, keep in mind, this is alleged. This is coming from one person. None of this has been confirmed as fact, of course. But with everything else we know, none of this should shock you, you know?
I don't know. This was still shocking. I don't know. Everything's shocking to me. I'm still shook as fuck.
No, I get it.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Immediately upon entering the writer's room, I was treated to story after story about her sold out shows, how obsessed her fans are with her, and the lengths they would go to get her attention. On the second day, she hauled in a small portion of her collection of art made by her beloved Merfandas. This included several paper mache Miranda heads, seen above. She puts them on there. Homemade figurines. She also brought in stacks and stacks of fan mail and drawings of something called the daddy saddle. The fuck? She says, I would come to learn that this is an item featured in many Miranda Sings videos. It used to allow Miranda to more easily ride around on her uncle's back.
Sorry, your face is making me laugh.
Because what the fuck?
Yeah, because she had a character who was an uncle. And I don't think he was in her videos. I don't really remember though.
Last week I saw some clips from her old videos where she was literally like in bed and saying, I'm in bed with my uncle.
Ew, really?
Yeah. She continues. The uncle character was something that Colleen took great pride in. She had spent years building him into the essential Miranda Sings lore. And once we began to break for stories for the show, it became clear that he was going to be an integral part of it. Miranda and Uncle Jim, that's the uncle's name, had a, in the character's words, special relationship. She often pitched stories in which Miranda and Uncle Jim would be caught in compromising positions or in stomach-churning moments of intimacy, the fuck, that could always be easily explained away by the clueless Miranda. It was my responsibility to write down every single one of these pitches and schedule calls to look at mock-ups of the daddy saddle that would be featured on the show.
The TDS.
And Mark points in the scripts where Colleen thought we could make Uncle Jim even more R-wordy. That is so fucking weird. And Netflix was like, sure, dude. She continues. As you can imagine, this made me so uncomfortable. It all felt deeply wrong. She would show us photos of the packed rows of smiling children who had attended her show the night before, and in the same breath, spend hours trying to think of a way to show Miranda and Uncle Jim all but having actual sex on screen. I felt insane. This was my job, a coveted...
This is her first job.
Yeah,
out of school, I believe.
Coveted writer's assistant position, and I was terrified to be seen as anything less than enthusiastic to be there. That sucks. Colleen made accomplishing this a Herculean feat.
I looked up what the Haters Back Off show is rated on Netflix. It's rated TV PG, which if you look up the rating system, that is basically is like it's for kids under like a little bit of guidance, essentially.
So why on earth would Netflix
That's
rate
what my
that
question
PG?
is. Why did Netflix do that? Anyways, so another one of April's responsibilities was to sit on the production meetings and take notes. And all the meetings were virtual because the writer's room was in LA and then the filming of the show was in Vancouver. So she said that in those meetings, she had to document Colleen's insistence that they use limited people of color background actors. Says, quote, it was in those meetings that I had to document Colleen's insistence that we use limited POC background actors as the show took place in Washington, and having them just randomly there would be, quote, distracting. Distracting? In what way?
I mean, there are Black people and Asian people and
Hispanic
people. There's tons of cultures in Washington. I don't really understand that point at all.
I know. I was a little confused on that either. Be distracting. She said, I took note as Colleen was shown an Asian food market that would be redressed as a bodega for the show, and watched her disgust as she demanded assurance that all the, quote, Asian shit would be removed before filming. I sat patiently as the powers that be expressed concern that the entire main cast for the show show was white and silently prayed that since someone with some actual say had spoken up, things might change. And I took note yet again as Colleen assured them that they had only casted the best person for each role and that it wasn't her fault that all of those people ended up being white. So there's a screenshot of this text message chain.
It looks like it's a text to her from someone else who's on the production team that was with Colleen.
It seems like it, yeah. The texts say, we're rewatching auditions from earlier this morning, watching the tape of this black actor who is fine, by the way, very fine. But anyway, the lighting wasn't great, and Colleen just shouted out loud, "Where is he?" Implying he is so dark-skinned, he disappeared. God. 1, you can totally see him. It was just overcast this morning. The fuck. 2, black is beautiful, question mark. And 3, get me the fuck out of here.
So content of the show aside, it was difficult to work for Colleen, she says. She had a knack for making funny, biting comments about people around her. And since we all had her to thank for our jobs, we were forced to just go with it. She saw no issues in commenting on my hair or clothes or asking about my personal life. Her lack of boundaries was remarkable. Most days, the first hour or so of work was dedicated to Colleen forcing us to perform the emotional labor of counseling her through her marital concerns, which really lines up with what she's been DMing fans over the years, talking about her marriage to them. Being a listening ear to her complaints about fans, why they were being so, quote, sensitive lately, aka they had spoken up about their discomfort with her using a black scent. And getting the latest updates on the antics of her fellow YouTubers. I recall overhearing her once brag about a creator was being canceled for saying the N-word. And if you think she just said N-word instead of hitting that hard R, then you haven't been paying attention. Wow. And that she would have never been stupid enough to get caught doing something like that. I saw recently a clip of Shane Dawson talking about Colleen like years and years ago on a podcast. And he said that, I can't remember exactly.
She talks a lot of shit though.
But yeah, she talks a lot of shit. And that as soon as they get together, she wants to talk about everyone in the industry, just kind of lining up. Lots of talking behind people's back here. She said she once gave me the honor of naming a character after me, a villain at Miranda's school who thought she was better than everyone else because she was a Christian. Colleen made it known on several occasions that she could tell that I was less than thrilled with the show, and even once pulled me aside and quipping, "You really hate this, right?" I could tell that my discomfort with the art that we were creating was notable to her. She would often pitch something vile and then look over to me and ask, "Any thoughts, April?" It was almost like she took a weird pleasure in making me uncomfortable and knowing that even if I wanted to, there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. She was cruel, and it was that same cruelty that I recognized in the video she posted on Wednesday, addressing the many allegations that have been piling up against her over the last few weeks. We'll have it linked below if you would like to check it out for yourselves, but we didn't want to read her entire article, but
yikes.
Yeah, definitely wanted to amplify her voice here. Insane.
She's been tricking a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah.